HR Basics is a series of short courses designed to highlight what you need to know about a particular human resource management topic. In today's HR Basics, we explore the essentials of the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, known as OSHA, and HR's role in ensuring employee safety and health. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, known as OSHA, is the federal agency responsible for protecting the health and safety of workers. OSHA makes sure that employers follow occupational safety and health regulations and keep the workplace safe. On December 29, 1970, President Nixon signed the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970 into law, establishing OSHA. Since then, employee safety and health has been dramatically improved. The Occupational Safety and Health Act established 3 agencies within the Department of Labor to oversee various aspects of workplace safety. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, known as OSHA, administers provisions of the law, conducts workplace inspections, and works with companies to improve worker safety. The National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, known as NIOSH, is a supporting body that conducts research and develops safety standards. Finally, the Occupational Safety and Health Review Commission, the OSHRC, reviews OSHA enforcement actions and addresses disputes between OSHA and employers that are cited by OSHA inspectors. Federal OSHA encourages states to develop and operate their own OSHA programs. These state health and safety programs are approved, monitored, and partially funded by federal OSHA. State programs, also called state plans, must be at least as protective as federal OSHA. There are currently 26 states and U.S. territories operating state OSHA programs. A major responsibility of OSHA is to enforce safety regulations in an effort to reduce injuries and illnesses in the workplace. Enforcement includes creating guidelines and rules, investigating, inspecting, and levying fines. Compliance officers have a great deal of discretion and authority to ensure worker safety. Employers need to know their responsibility, the standards, enforcement, consultation services, and complaint procedures through the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Let's take a look at each. So, what are employer responsibilities under OSHA? At the heart of any safety management program is an organizational commitment to a comprehensive safety effort that should be coordinated at the top level of management and include all members of the organization. Every employer that is engaged in commerce or has one or more employees must comply with the Act. Employers must provide their employees with work and workplaces that are safe and healthful, correct any hazardous conditions that they know may result in serious injury to their employees. Failure to do so could result in criminal charges, monetary penalties, and even jail. Comply with all applicable OSHA standards, including any training requirements. Notify the nearest OSHA office within 8 hours of any serious injury or fatality that occurs on the job, or any serious illness or injury caused by the job. Any inpatient hospitalization of 3 or more employees as a result of work-related accidents must also be reported right away. The actions of managers should also support this effort. Balancing the competing demands for safety and productivity can be difficult, especially for frontline supervisors. Executives must lead the effort by establishing a culture that emphasizes safety as the highest priority. Designing safety policies and rules along with disciplining violators are important components of safety efforts. Frequently reinforcing the need for safe behavior and frequently supplying feedback on positive safety practices are also effective ways of improving worker safety. Such safety-conscious efforts must involve employees, supervisors, managers, safety specialists, and the HR folks. Accidents in the workplace are often reduced with safety training that is conducted in various ways. Regular sessions with supervisors, managers, and employees can be coordinated by HR staff members. Communicating about safety procedures, reasons accidents occurred, and what to do in an emergency is critical. Without effective communication about safety, training is insufficient. To reinforce safety training, continuous communication to develop safety consciousness is necessary. Many organizations hold brief monthly safety meetings conducted by frontline supervisors. Employees frequently participate in safety planning through safety committees, which are often composed of workers from a variety of levels and departments. A safety committee generally meets at regularly scheduled times, has specific responsibilities for conducting safety reviews, identifying risks, and making recommendations for changes necessary to avoid future accidents. At least one member of the committee usually comes from the HR department. OSHA rules and standards are frequently complicated and technical. While many industries, like construction and healthcare, have specific workplace requirements, all companies must adhere to two provisions. First, the general duty. The Act requires that the employer has the general duty to provide a safe and healthy working condition, even in areas where OSHA standards have not been set. Employers that know or reasonably should know of unsafe or unhealthy conditions can be cited for violating the general duty clause. Notification in posters is the second element. Employers are required to inform their employees of OSHA safety and health standards by using provided OSHA posters. Standards, typically called regulations, describe what employers must do to protect workers from various workplace hazards. Some standards are general and apply to nearly all workplaces, such as the Hazard Communication Standard. Other standards about specific hazards found only in some workplaces, such as the lead, asbestos, and fall protection standards. Specific standards set out detailed rules that must be followed or minimum levels of protection that must be achieved for a particular hazard. OSHA's specific standards cover a wide variety of workplace safety issues, including the hazards shown here, plus many others. Such things as toxic substances, hazardous equipment, electrical hazards, slips, trips, and falls, hazardous waste, infectious diseases, fire hazards, machine hazards, and confined spaces are covered. You can find standards that apply to your workplace by visiting the OSHA website. Notice that there's a set of standards for general industry and another set for the construction industry. To find them, go to www.osha.gov. OSHA enforces job safety and health standards by conducting inspections and, in some cases, issuing citations and fines. OSHA inspects workplaces when it receives a report of a death or serious injury, or when there's a complaint by an employee or employee representative. OSHA may also inspect workplaces that are on a list of high-hazard industries. In this case, OSHA randomly selects a workplace for inspection. OSHA may also inspect an employer because it's identified as having a higher injury rate than other employers in the industry. It's not necessary to wait for an OSHA inspector to check the work area for safety hazards. Regular inspections can be performed by a safety committee or a company safety professional. Problem areas should be addressed immediately to prevent accidents and keep work productivity at the highest possible levels. OSHA consultation services provide technical assistance to employers on health and safety issues. Consulting services include on-site visits with no fee, assistance in complying with OSHA standards, educational seminars, and publications. The consultation service is separate from OSHA enforcement. Consultants are not involved with enforcement activities such as inspections, citations, and fines. All communications between the employer and the consultation service are confidential and are not shared with enforcement staff. In exchange for this free consultation, however, employers must agree to correct in a timely manner any hazards that are identified. A complaint about a workplace hazard can be filed with OSHA by phone, fax, mail, or online. A formal complaint is one where the employee or employee representative gives OSHA their name. If the person gives their name, OSHA is required to keep it confidential. Each complaint is classified by the OSHA Enforcement District Office to determine what inspection priority the complaint should be given. Complaints about an imminent hazard that puts a worker in immediate danger of being killed or seriously injured are given immediate priority for investigation. Work-related deaths are also investigated immediately. If a worker wants to remain anonymous and does not give a name, the complaint is considered a non-formal complaint. Complaints from the public, including former employees of the company, are also considered non-formal. OSHA gives non-formal complaints lower priority. Organizations should monitor and evaluate their safety efforts. Just as organizational accounting records are audited, a firm's safety efforts should also be audited on a regular basis.